Brandon Copeland has been in the NFL for more than 6 years now, going from undrafted rookie to practice squad backup to outside linebacker for the New York Jets. But he's also a pro when it comes to his off-field skills, famously investing and saving about 90% of his football salary. And now he's sharing his wisdom with the future generation. Brandon, welcome to the show. I'm a super fan, so I'm super psyched to speak with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just find your story fascinating because obviously you're known for your tackles on the field, but you're also a giant when it comes to tackling the stock market. Were you always interested in finance?
I think I was always interested in making money, and I was fortunate enough to be at a high school where my head coach actually ran his own hedge fund. And at the time, I had no idea what he did or what it was. However, I just knew that he was well off, and he didn't have to run through 600 pounds of grown man to paycheck it and stuff like that. So I actually ended up interning for him a couple summers, and I remember the numbers moving up and down on the screen, and again, still not really understanding what was going on fully. But from then, it just kind of sparked my curiosity, and I've just been fortunate enough to be in the right place, the right time, and have a hunger for knowledge and continue to chase after understanding what's going on.
And you are a graduate of U of Penn, and now you are teaching there. You're Professor Copeland, teaching Life 101 class. How did that idea come about?
Yeah, that actually came about 4 years ago now, and some teammates of mine and I were driving around Detroit. Actually, I was a Detroit Lion at the time. We were looking for places to invest from a real estate standpoint, just trying to figure out Detroit is going through its own revitalization and just figuring out where it's next. And during the car ride, one of my teammates said, "Hey, man, I wish in college we had a class on, how to buy a house and taxes and budgeting and credit and all these different things that we have to deal with in the league. They should have that class for athletes." And I thought, I was like, well, one, that's a great idea, but two, that's for everybody. It doesn't just touch athletes. All of us have to deal with that stuff. So I took that idea and ran with it in the sense of like trying to create it and flush it out and create the syllabus and pitch it and all of that type of stuff.
So, and it's like a 3-hour class, right?
Yeah, tell me about it.
But you have to be the coolest professor on campus. Doesn't everyone want to take this class with you?
Yeah, actually, as you say that, the first day of class, I remember showing up. One, it was the most popular class on campus in terms of the amount of requests it had for it. But then two, the first day of class, I remember showing up and literally being a line outside. And then, we filled up the seats, and then there were also people sitting in the seats who actually weren't registered for the class and stuff like that. So, we had to sort all of that type of stuff out, but that's a pretty cool feeling.
So there's such a hunger for this now that we're seeing from millennials, right? This thirst and desire to learn how to invest. So do you have certain key rules you follow?
Yeah. I think that first and foremost, coming from the class, I realized I actually had a lot of learning myself in terms of, fine tuning these rules, these things. I think sadly, in the past, what I've seen is there's been a lot of cookie cutter advice,
Right.
The whole save 50%, live off of 30, invest 20. It sounds really good, but there's a lot of people in this world who can't afford to save 50% of their money. So you hear that, you don't listen to anything else, whether it has merit or not to you. So I think doing things like, first and foremost, figuring out what your goals are. A lot of people don't know what they're chasing, and they end up chasing a number when they might really be chasing a lifestyle or financial freedom or a mindset, so to speak. So that's number one. But then number two, understanding every single expense that leaves your pocket on a monthly basis. I think that's one of the most important things you can do. You figure out what it costs for your internet, your cable,
Right.
your phone bill, all of that type of stuff. And then once you map that out, put that on the paper, Google Sheets or whatever it may be, then you can literally look at that and figure out where you want to make cuts, where you want to add more to. You want to save a little bit more on your Comcast bill or Optimum bill so that you can travel more, right? You want to save a little more here to add somewhere else, or however you want to do it. But I think that those two things are something that everyone can start with. And then from there, once you have a better grip and understanding of what's coming in and out monthly, then you can figure out and set yourself up to eventually save and to eventually invest.
And that's such a good point, Brandon, because I can't tell you, even amongst my friends, how many people are even scared to know or look at their bank account. They kind of show up at the ATM, fingers crossed, thinking, I hope cash is going to come out of there. But that's a good point, is you have to know how much you have, how much are you spending. And you're right, a lot of the info out there is cookie cutter. How many times have we heard, pay off your debt, don't buy Starbucks coffee. So you're going above and beyond that.
Right. It's trying to create stuff that we all can use. I think that, a lot of times some of this advice is talking to a certain subset of people, right? People talk to me. For example, me at this point in time in my life, I'm making a lot of money, and to save percent and only save 50% is probably foolish of me, right? I actually end up investing a lot more of my money than saving. But again, you can't just take this cookie cutter advice and apply it to everything or everyone. So, we talk about investing and stuff like that as well, but then also how you buy a house, the buying versus leasing a car, things like that people kind of spoke about and mentioned, and it might have gone over our heads, but let's sit down and break it down. Let's talk it through, ask your quote unquote stupid questions. Like let's have these conversations. I think that as a professor, what I've done is just created a safe space for people to talk about these things that your families might not know. You might not come from that background. And again, just creating a space where we can talk it out, these ideas out.
I love this quote where you said, you learned like the sign of a 45-degree angle, but you didn't know how to buy a house, so you had to learn that, and now you're teaching that. And I think that's what a lot of schools and curriculums get wrong. How long do you think it's going to take till we see this evolution and a new financial literacy coming to fruition here?
I actually think it'll be sooner than I anticipated when I started this. I think, within the next 5 years or so, you'll see this in a lot of different schools. I'm actually working on an online platform right now, so to make my classroom available to everyone.
Oh, wow.
And make the lectures live. We actually opened the classroom to the public 4 times last year for different lectures: how to buy a house, the credit, the financing company, entrepreneurship panels, stuff like that. So, but the goal for me is ultimately to get this in everyone's hands. It shouldn't just be at the college level. It shouldn't just be for athletes. My mother, who's a single mother, she should be able to have this information, and she should have been able to take this info and help it catapult her own retirement savings.
Was this a eureka moment for you? Because I read when you were first signed to the Ravens, and whatever it was at the time, 1.5 million, and you're just, you're so young and you come across all this money, but you learned that at the end of that season, you really only saw 20,000. Was that really like a moment where you thought, hey, I need a plan B here? Yeah,
I think I've come into the league, and coming from a school like Penn, I've always wanted to do things a bit different. That's just my own upbringing and background. But I think that for me, I've always been chasing financial freedom in the sense of I don't want to be dependent on the New York Jets or the Baltimore Ravens at that time to feed myself and my family. So it was always trying to take what I'm making, and I know I'm using my body as an asset right now, but take what I'm making and grow it and save it the right way, but then grow it. And so I do real estate. I do, venture investing and my own stock investing and all of that type of stuff. But it's all about trying to figure out how to take the money that you've worked hard for your entire lives, right? A lot of us have grown up and we've chased this dream because we want money, and you've worked for your entire life. One thing I tell players and other people is like, now you've got the money. Now is not the time to get lazy, right? Now is the time to put in the research, put in the time to understand these different options available to you so that you don't waste money, you don't lose money, but then also even just as hard to put your money to work for you, right? The goal is to not be working my life as hard as I am.
And Brandon, you mentioned real estate. I know you like real estate, but as we're about to start this new decade, are you repositioning your portfolio right now, looking at new assets you want to add? What are you, as an investor, liking right now?
Yeah, great question. So I have my stocks and all of that type of stuff. I love real estate, to be quite honest with you. I think the market is going to take a dive pretty soon. And so I'm actually repositioning myself for that. Getting ready to be able to buy up properties and all that type of stuff. But there's a lot of very depressed areas where you can get some pretty good deals.
In the U.S. or are you looking outside the U.S.?
In the U.S. In the U.S. Yeah, so I've been looking at in the U.S., right in my own backyard, actually some places in Newark, New Jersey, and Detroit and Maryland, my hometown, and stuff like that. So we've been doing a lot of stuff like that, just getting ready for when this market does take a dive and we can buy up some things for cheap. And in the meantime, we'll continue to flip houses. We have a couple on right now and doing a bunch of work in the community. We're kind of all over the place.
And you're in U.S. equities? You like U.S. stocks?
Yeah. Yep. Like U.S. stocks, obviously, it's been going very well. It's been a good year thus far.
Any precious metals in your portfolio? We have a huge gold following on our show.
Really, look at you guys. No, I don't have yet, but I need to get some.
You need to hedge. You need to hedge, Brandon.
Right.
Finally, I need to ask you, do guys in the locker room ask you for advice all the time? Have you become like the financial guru?
To be quite honest, yes. Actually, we just before this, we had a meeting, and I started doing a meeting once a week with guys on the team who are interested, no pressure at all. And guys come and we meet on Tuesdays at 12:45.
Wow. How cool is that?
That is, I'm not going to lie. Humbling.
That's awesome. Things we don't see when we're watching the football games. Brandon, you teach off season, right? So how do you fit this all in? So when you're not playing, this is when you're teaching class, or?
Yeah. So I teach in the off season, but my schedule, the way things kind of work, I make the time for the things I want to make time for. So I have a foundation as well. It's called Beyond the Basics Inc. Right now, we literally are taking a bunch of kids Christmas shopping for the holidays. Wow. So my foundation, we're taking over 300 kids shopping. Literally been planning that in season, and we have the houses going. Tonight
awesome.
We're going to the city and taking some kids shopping, some homeless young adults and stuff like that, and it's going to be you make time for what you want to make time.
That's amazing. That's really inspirational, Brandon, and you're paying it forward, doing good stuff, and you obviously have to have a passion for it because you don't need to be teaching. You do well enough that you don't need that you're obviously not doing that for the money. So it's really nice to see. Thank you so much. I'll be watching you from the sidelines.
Thank you so much.
Section 148.
There we go. I'll give you a shout out.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Happy New Year to you. And thank you for watching. We will have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned. On behalf of the Kitco Media team, we'd like to wish all our viewers a very happy and healthy 2020.
On vous souhaite un très joyeux Noël et passez de bonnes fêtes.
大家好，祝大家节日快乐，新年快乐。
С Новым годом и хороших праздников. Cheers.
नमस्ते दर्शकों, नव वर्ष की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। अगले साल मिलेंगे।
Всех с наступающими праздниками. Желаю счастья, любви, здоровья всем в новом году.
A todos os nossos clientes e amigos, Feliz Natal e ano novo cheio de saúde e amor. Obrigado.
Maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat at manigong na bagong taon.
祝大家节日快乐，新年好。
Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I wish you all the best in 2020.
Auguri a tutti i nostri cari spettatori, augurandovi un buon Natale e un felice anno nuovo.